Good morning, Soul Tribe, and happy Sunday. At least it's Sunday for me here. It's Sunday morning, and I love Sunday mornings. And wherever you are, because for you, it might be Monday or Sunday night. Wherever you are, we are a global community. I am with you. This is a follow up to Kind But Not Stupid. So let's just start. I'm Claudia Cauterucci. I'm the channel host. I'm a psychotherapist in Washington, D.C. for over 25 years. I'm a psycho-spiritual guide, and I'm also an author. And today is going to be a vlog. And vlog for me are usually about sharing tools, truths, and transmission. And today I woke up with this transmission. It's to share this with you. Okay, so let's jump right in. What happens when kind people have mean thoughts? Because we do. So this one's for you, kind people, okay? This one's for you, and I need you to really pull out your PhD on Me journal and take note, because I'm going to give you some good stuff today. So mostly kind people don't want to hurt others. They don't. And sometimes we're shocked by the thoughts that we're having about the people who have hurt us, who have harmed us in the past. Have you ever thought, like, who am I to be thinking like this, right? This isn't who I am. So you'll shut it down very quickly. You'll repress, you'll suppress. But stay with me. This is the truth about this vlog. Remember, truth, transmissions, and tools. This is the truth. Kindness is not the absence of anger, but kindness can be the mastery of it. Remember, era of emotions. We are here for the era of emotions. So empaths, highly sensitives, kind people have erected a personality around never being mean and never being angry. It's painful to even think about that, because that's how they've been valued and rewarded. More on that later. But this vlog, I'm actually going to start with what not to do. I'm going to really say this, like, I want you to just picture like neon signs, okay? What not to do. You are not going to shame yourself for the thought. You are not going to scare yourself about what the thought means. You are not going to spiritually bypass it. You are not going to act it out sideways. Over here, over here. You are not going to turn it inwards on yourself. The emergence of a thought is not a crime. Superhuman, super, and biological, by the way. I'll share more on that later. These thoughts are signals. The emotion is a signal. Go watch my podcast on the era of emotions. Go watch my podcast on Are You Emotional but Not Emotionally Intelligent, right? Those are my long version discussions, conversations about exactly this. Our internal world speaks to us in images and impulses before it gets to language. In fact, that's how we manifest. It starts as a thought before it actually leaves the body into words. Okay, now I want you to write. I want you to write in your PhD on Me journal what to allow. Allow the thought to exist. Okay? Bleep. It exists. The thought will show up with a feeling underneath it. They come together. Allow the body sensation. Because thoughts and emotions come paired. It's like they come with accessories. Think of it like that, okay? The accessories are what we feel in our body, our sensation of feeling. By the way, that's what cognitive behavioral therapy is all about. It's a triangle: thoughts, emotions, behavior. So we're looking at the thought and the emotion before it becomes a behavior. This is important for later. And let me tell you, my love, the psycho-spiritual truth about this. And this gets really hidden. It gets so hidden when we're feeling anger or when we're feeling a little mean or a lot mean, is that there's this little kernel of gold, a little kernel of gold embedded in all of that. And it's this: anger is still a part of you that knows your worth. I want you to think about when you were a kid and you felt angry, because that was raw. When we're children, we have these raw feelings. Something makes us angry. And part of it is because the event, the situation is rubbing up really hard against our self-worth. This is where discover the data in the DDD, discover the data, discern, decide. In the discovery of the data, we can find in the data of our thoughts and our feelings these little pieces of gold. So kind people were often taught and trained to survive by being good, by being nice. They've been valued for that. They're the good kid, they're the quiet kid, they're the helpful person. They don't cause trouble, and anger is trouble. So anger gets pushed down underground over and over and over, and you're rewarded for it. You're rewarded for pushing down your anger. But check it out. Years of psychotherapy, years of my own personal therapy. What happens is that when it's not allowed consciously, you know how consciousness is everything? The unconscious takes over. And the unconscious is wild. The unconscious loves a free for all. The unconscious takes over your life. It's a part of you that you don't want to look at, but trust and believe that it's showing up all over the place. This is a sidebar, but sometimes I go or I'm around people or in situations where I can actually psychically and energetically feel that their unconscious is completely unraveled and untamed and unrestricted. And that becomes dangerous when someone's unconscious is just spewing its energy into the environment. It becomes dangerous and it will rule the roost. Is that a saying? I think it's a saying, but you get it. It will dominate everything. So please hear this part. Now that we're talking about danger, this is the danger for kind people. If you repress your emotions, if you suppress them, if you drive them underground, especially when they're as loaded, as charged, and powerful as anger, they do not disappear. Energy of any kind never disappears. It takes different form. Never. Any type of energy, just think of it. It always exists. It just takes different forms, and often forms we don't even want them to take. I mean, think of uranium. Anyway, sidebar, you know how I digress into other thoughts. So what happens with those charged, loaded, energetic emotions, because emotions are pure energy, pure energy. I want you to keep reminding yourself of that. Memorize, emotions are energy. They will leak. They leak as side remarks. They leak as sarcasm. They leak as avoidance. They leak as criticism. They leak as spontaneous eruptions. They leak. And they usually don't leak onto the person that hurt you. They leak onto your child, onto a parent, onto the person at the cash register, at the supermarket. They leak during road rage. And they leak drip, 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 drip into your body. Long-term resentment becomes long-term disease. Repeat after me. Long-term resentment becomes long-term disease. What's resentment? It's anger that coagulates. Coagulates. It becomes solid and stinky and it rots. That's what resentment is. Energy doesn't go away, my loves. It finds a place to call home. It finds its place. We don't want to projectile vomit, but we also do not want to repress. So I hope for kind people, for what we're about to talk about, that this is your incentive. Even though I'm suppressing my anger and my mean thoughts, it's still an active agent. And the question is, do I want to be conscious about the active agent that could go rogue? Or do I want it to just be unconscious and let it do its thing? So this is your incentive, kind person. So what does this not mean? Write that down as a title. What does this not mean? This does not mean you're going to hurt someone. This does not mean you're becoming like them. This does not mean you're unsafe. This does not mean you've lost your goodness. This is the most important one. This does not mean you're bad. Because a lot of children have been told that if they're angry, they're bad. See, that's when the anger turns into mean thoughts that we can't stop thinking. Having violent thoughts does not make you violent. Suppressing them without processing them makes them leak. Like gas, like carbon monoxide, just filling up your space. I'm really talking to kind people who had abusive parents, who had narcissistic parents, who were bullied, who were gossiped about, bullied by a sibling, bullied by a friend. There's all sorts of reasons, who had a perpetrator, a sexual perpetrator. Now, those are very intense cases. Sometimes we're angry at our boss who keeps taking our work and takes credit for it. There's so many examples, you guys, and they're on a spectrum. The bottom line is, you having angry feelings and mean thoughts does not make you bad. All right, what to do? Because I wanted to share with you what I do with years and years and years of psychotherapy and lots and lots and lots of reasons to be angry at people and to have resentment. I have so many reasons. And sometimes I don't even realize that I'm resenting until I'm triggered. And that's where thank you trigger comes in. Because I would not know that I'm walking around with all of these suitcases of resentment that, hey, I don't want in my body. I do not want in this body. No. So how to do it? You know what I call it? I know I'm totally corny, but here's a Cloudism. Mindful meanness. Mindful meanness. Yes, that's it. Okay, so what do? This is what you do. Your SYAD, another Cloudism. Sit your ass down. Bam. Sit down. Be intentional about, I'm going to feel this. Like mindfulness, like meditation. And this is part of my dynamic meditation, by the way. Turn on the observer. Observer on. That's what you say. Observer on. So you're not acting with that. You're telling yourself that you're going to start to witness. Whether it's from the corner of your room, whether it's from a couch, find a grounded, safe place. I sometimes do it out on my balcony. And what you're going to be aware of is, I am having mean thoughts. Can you see the intentionality? You are intentional, you're framing it. I am having mean thoughts. That doesn't mean I am mean. It means I'm having thoughts. Step 2, write it down. Write it down. Breathe space into your body. I like to do that. I say observer on, and then I breathe space, and I actually visualize this. Sort of have like it's like the inside of my body stretches out a little bit. So I give it a lot of space. Like there's room. There's room. Okay, I create room inside myself. And basically, I'm just telling myself, my central nervous system, I'm going to allow this. So every emotion is an energy. I'm giving it space. I'm saying yes to the energy. That's where say yes comes in dynamic meditation. You say yes to it. Yes, I'm having mean thoughts. Yes. Observer on, space in the body. Step 3. So I want you to picture a box of Kleenex, like a box of Kleenex. And I say this all the time. All of this is a meditation, by the way. It's how I teach it. Box of Kleenex, and you pull the thoughts up. And what you're visualizing is that every thought is like a Kleenex in the box of Kleenex. You're pulling them out one by one. Now remember, the first thoughts are so loaded. They are charged. It's just the first layer. Picture the first layer. That's normal. It's like a clogged emotional toilet. I know I give you lots of visuals, but I promise you, these visuals are going to help. The first stuff is super stinky, it's intense, and it's a lot when you're unclogging. So do not judge yourself, okay? Because judgment stops the flow. I want you to picture, oh, of course, the first layers are going to be probably the most intense ones. Normal. One of my favorite things to do, and it really works for me. And this you can actually write as you're doing it. I actually do say it out loud, is I pull up the phrases that I would want to say to them, the words that I never got to say. Now, the trick with that is that part of it is just knowing that you're pulling it out like the box of Kleenex. Because once they're out, once that phrase comes out of me, I picture it just letting them go bling, 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 into outside energy. So that might look like, I freaking hate that you blah, blah, blah. You are a blah, 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 blah. Why did you blah, 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 blah. Imagine all that rage, but remember, pull it out, pull the phrase out of your mouth and let it dissipate. And this you can write down. You can just write like crazy. That works too. And just write wild. So this is what you're going to prepare for. Tears, cuss words. Use cuss words. Yes, because research shows that cuss words can help self-regulate. It regulates pain and emotional discharge. You're not doing it on anyone, but it's coming out. And also prepare for some despair, because maybe you have never let out these years of rage, of anger, of resentment, out and out and out. We want to unclog this emotional toilet. So you're going to observe as those Kleenex come out, you're going to observe if there's other people, maybe the people who were silent, the people who didn't protect you, the people who colluded with that person, the people who gossiped about you, where you knew it. You knew behind your back they were gossiping. In my case, they still do. And it's okay. I have no rage around it because I pulled it all out. The ones who did nothing, the ones who joined, the ones who betrayed, the ones who didn't care that you were a child, the ones who didn't care that you were kind, the ones who didn't care that you were helpful and available, you're going to pull all of that out. Okay? Including if it's a parent, doesn't matter, a past lover, a sibling, a boss, friends, just pull it up, cry it out, curse it out. And if you feel like you need to move, because of course, anger will make you want to move. Okay? However, don't feel silly. Anger makes you want to move. There's all that energy in your body. You move. That's a meditation. That is a dynamic meditation. Shake it out. Now, you might want to time the time that you're doing this. You might want to set a clock. I tell this to my folks a lot because it'll feel boundaried and contained. Why is this important? Some people are so afraid of their feelings, even if it's grief, that they don't have them because they feel like it'll never stop. I had a client who both his parents died within the same month, and he wouldn't cry. He wouldn't cry, and it was horrific. And he said, I just can't, because he was so afraid that he would stop crying, that it would just become so depressive for him. And I said, I want you to watch a movie, even if it's a romantic movie, something that makes you cry. That's 2 hours. 2 hours. It starts and it ends, and you can cry during the movie. Do it in the shower. All this is dynamic meditation, y'all. All of it. In the shower, you go in, you cry, you rage, you curse as you're pulling out your Kleenex. Remember, it's intentional. And then you stop after you finish the shower. This is important for some people who feel that it'll never stop. So, what's important? There are some boundaries, there are some guidelines to this process. The reason why I'm being so specific and maybe passionate about the boundaries around this is because we get confused as kind people. We tell ourselves that we are bad or mean. We can't get out of it because we don't know how to get it out of our system. So, for example, this is not a reason to obsess, but we will end up obsessing. We will end up dialoguing and having discussions and yelling in our head, and in the car as we're driving, we will obsess. And that's just the way your body, your psyche is trying to get something out, right? The signal, there's messaging coming up through your anger. So it wants to get it out, but we don't obsess it out. We don't vent it out unless it's in a safe container, a good friend where you say, hey, I'm going to vent, because we don't want to vent to people who can't hold the frame, who can't hold the intention or the objective of this is something I need to get out so that I can heal. And who can't understand that the first layers look pretty mean or pretty angry or pretty rageful. What this is for you, your freedom, your release, your health, mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. It's to alleviate your nervous system. So just think of it, kind heart, my beautiful kind heart. Just think of it as self-care. Full stop. Punto y aparte. This is how you're going to declutter your mind. I love decluttering. You guys know this. This is how you're going to turn the page. In Spanish, I have a friend group who always say, caso cerrado. And it's like a Judge Judy type of thing, where she bangs on the gavel and she says, case closed, caso cerrado. Okay, all of my resentment, my anger. This might take a while, you guys, especially if there was a perpetrator in your life, an abuser, if this is a parent. This chapter of getting things out lasts a long time. This vlog is about giving yourself the permission to think and to release the mean things, the revenge fantasy. This is a way for you to DJ your internal world. You'll see it in my era of emotions. I talk about that. I talk about that inside we emotionally calibrate, DJ, and calibration equals regulation. That's the way that I hold that. That when we can calibrate on the inside, we can actually regulate our behavior. And yes, revenge, I'll do a vlog on revenge later. The fantasy, the desire to have revenge can be very, very powerful. And I can talk about in another vlog how to release that without actually enacting or embodying revenge. Now, here's a safety clause, and here's trauma-informed container. If this involves severe abuse memories, bullying, horrific traumatic behavior that you've experienced, do this with a therapist. Frame it, time limit it. Don't do this alone. Please don't do it alone. Why? Because the fear is underneath it. One fear is, if I let this out, it will never stop. Another fear is, I'm going to move into action about this. I'm going to do something I'll regret. A big fear when we work with trauma is that we don't want to go back to those places. So, rage and fear always go together, my loves, always go together. Underneath the next layer, you know how the first layer is the anger, the rage, the disappointment. As we keep going, we'll find fear. So, it will stop when it's contained. Here's the thing about rage, it's not evil until it becomes a behavior. And an unconscious behavior becomes very. It's actually a message from the inside. I always say it's like a text message. Well, rage isn't just a text message, it is a full on blast that wants your attention. What it is saying is, there is more here, and I need to be let go into the astrals, not let go onto someone as I'm driving, onto this child, onto my current lover who treats me well, but my past did not. It's a messaging about pain, about hurt, about a broken heart, about projection from others, about injustice. It has extremely important messaging. And that was the original intent of the rage, is to give you this message. Something is very off and it's very wrong. And what other feelings do I need to soothe underneath my rage? And the way it happens is it starts to take mean thoughts, revenge fantasies. Remember, that energy will take form, but in other ways. So let's have it take form in the ways that we manage and we control through consciousness. And I promise you this, years and years and years of work. If you don't allow it to come up in a way that feels conscious, it will stalk you and it will ambush you. Nope. We are the boss of our internal world. You hear me? You're the boss of your consciousness, of your internal world. That's what it means to be an empath leader, to be a regulated human being, to be emotionally intelligent, is that we are the DJ of what goes on inside of us so that we can have choice. The freest human is the choosing human on what we do with it out there in the world. Don't you wish our leaders did that? Don't you wish our parents knew that? Don't you wish? Reminds me, don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like me? Sorry, I digress. Don't you wish? It's just reminded me of that song. Who was that? Was it that the Pussycat Dolls? It's something like that. Anyway, this is a power move, you guys, for you. Feeling anger does not disqualify your kindness, doesn't cancel it out. Spoiler alert, it protects it. It protects you. It protects others to feel it and let it go. You've got this. I'm with you. I've got it too. Let's do this together, global community, my global soul tribe. Let's do it together. Okay. Hey, if this content is helpful, if you want to help me push this algorithm, this global algorithm from one of narcissist, abuse, dysregulated rage to one of healing, of a new type of human who knows their operating systems, who knows how to manage them. Yes, if you want that, please like, share, subscribe, comment, move it with me. Let's do it together. Share it with someone. Share it with someone who has dysregulated anger, like just quietly, or share it with your kind people who think, because there's all types of cultures who has people not not allowed to be angry or children to be angry, whatever. You choose, you pick what resonates with you, but share, like, bing, put on that notification button because more of this is coming and I'm going to be on it this year. I'm going to be on it because there's so much dysregulation going on outside there that I am so here. I have a full on commitment for us to learn it on this channel. And guess what? It's free. It's free. Okay. I'll see you in the next podcast, vlog, or cloudism.